Welcome to Forward with NACCE, Inspiring Entrepreneurial Action, a podcast that shares the stories of everyday entrepreneurs, entrepreneurial leaders, and the communities that support us. We hope that this diverse collection of stories brings you inspiration, inspires you to take action, and ignites entrepreneurship in your community as we make our way forward together.
Welcome to Forward with NACCE. This episode is a replay of an inspiring discussion held during the 2021 Future Building Summit in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was sponsored by the Kauffman Foundation and included inspiring thinkers and leaders from all sectors: government, business, policy, and philanthropy. We talk about charting a new course and rebuilding in 2022. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy. I am delighted to welcome Andy Stoll from the Kauffman Foundation. So everybody in the room, give him a warm welcome. If you're sitting at your desk, you can clap too.
So the Kauffman Foundation is thrilled to support the work that you do by supporting this event. As a thank you for our sponsorship, I've been given the impossible task of wrapping up all of the content today from the fantastic and wonderful speakers. There is no possible way I can do that in 3 minutes, but that's not going to stop me from trying. This might be an unmitigated disaster, or it will be the most clarifying moment of the conference. I took notes from Brian Mattamore around mind mapping, so I've been taking mad notes over at my table, and I'm going to try to very briefly and quickly link some points together, at least the way my mind saw them connect, to help sort of bring a closure for the folks in the room and the folks online. This will either be wildly entertaining and informative or a total disaster, but probably a little bit entertaining as I try to pull all these threads through, and then we'll be wrapping up here. So within this wrap up, I'm also going to share a resource that I think you can take home and put some of these ideas into action right away. So take notes of that. All right. The world is changing. I don't have to tell you this. And what we heard in listening to all of the knowledge and information shared today is that, as Tom Downs said, the workplace has changed dramatically because of COVID. Climate change is affecting our local economies, and what we heard over and over again is jobs are radically transforming, and our local economies don't work in the way that we've relied on for the past 50 or 60 years. Times are a-changin', as they say. But what was clear in listening to all of that was shared today was that entrepreneurship matters. At the Kauffman Foundation, we call it the makers, the doers, and the dreamers. So a broad swath of entrepreneurship in the widest possible definition, the way we look at it. And we heard about all types of entrepreneurs today, because entrepreneurs create jobs, they build wealth, they grow communities. There is, as it was said, an emancipation in entrepreneurial success, and it helps people live their dreams. We heard from the student entrepreneurs this morning, and that's what we heard over and over. They weren't talking about creating jobs, they were talking about living their dreams and their life that they want for their children. As Judith said, entrepreneurship is central to this new world order. And again, I don't have to tell anyone online or in this room to that, but we know entrepreneurship matters. First point. Second point, driven, I think, through a number of stories that we heard today, is that inclusion matters. But we also heard from Dr. Sharon Pierce that belonging matters, and that we have to take active anti-racist actions within our institutions to address some of the systemic barriers facing entrepreneurs that get in the way of their dreams. And we heard over and over again that entrepreneurship, there's so much untapped potential in entrepreneurs of color, entrepreneurs of different genders, and entrepreneurs from a diversity of geographies. You heard it when you heard the story of Violet, Jason, and Dana, our student entrepreneurs this morning. Their stories were so powerful, and I thank everyone for including them and listening into their stories, because they hold the answers to what actions we need to take. Colin Lacey cited Raj Chetty's leading research that the single biggest determining factor as to whether a student will become an inventor is the wealth of their parents. The second biggest determining factor is if they are white. As Colin said, to follow that up, this reality threatens our economic survival. This is really the balance between what we heard over and over again, the moral imperative of inclusion because it's the right thing to do, and the economic imperative because the demographics of our communities have shifted, are shifting, and by 2055, the United States will be what you could call a majority-minority country. We've got to rethink how our economic development and entrepreneurial support policies work. As Philip said, the largest untapped economic asset is hiding in plain sight, and it might just be one block away. As Tom Roos said, the entrepreneurial opportunities exist for those often overlooked entrepreneurs, but access does not. The good news, now on to the good news, is community colleges are the gateway to creating access to this opportunity, Colin Lacey shared. And community colleges are the ideal platform, said Chip Westmiller, to solve many of our society's social ills, because community is your middle name. And community college is already at the heart of your community, as Philip reminded us. So as Katie Davis said to us, reminding us all that community colleges serve students and the student entrepreneurs, but also the wider community and the corporations within it, keeping community again as the middle name. But as we know, and everything we heard about ecosystems, is no one organization or individual can solve all these problems. No one organization or individual can build an entrepreneurial ecosystem. We know that, so we've got to work together. So the secret sauce, as it was said, is partnerships, because we all have a role to play. Dr. Giovanni told us a story of their work looking beyond the edge of their institution to build the ecosystem across Tarrant County. And we could see what happened when everybody worked together. But as Philip reminded us, there is a leadership vacuum, and there is a leadership vacuum that needs you to step into it. Community college leaders are well positioned to lead our communities as you are closest to the ground of any leaders in our communities. The government leaders don't know what to do with the federal funds. You're closer to the ground, and the opportunity for you to lead is immense. Tiffany Eubanks Sanders said that her work was about leveraging leadership. This really struck me. Leveraging leadership to help those underrepresented entrepreneurs find a path forward. So what I heard out of all of this was that entrepreneurship is important, and we have to put entrepreneurs front and center. We have to take action, and as Jason, our student entrepreneur, told us, we have to take action, massive, rapid action. He said, massive, rapid action. That's iteration, which I learned about because I just read the book. As Dr. Rayoni said, I am a convener. So the role of leaders like you is to convene, to bring people together, to look at all the people we heard from today, the investors, the elected officials, the philanthropists, the corporations, the nonprofits, the entrepreneurial support organizations, and all of the other folks that sat around, and bring those folks together. There was so much hunger we heard both on stage and on screen of folks who wanted to help, but we need you to lead. One of the key things we've learned at the Kauffman Foundation is you can't build trust and collaboration by talking about building trust and collaboration. You have to do something together. I don't actually care what it is as long as you all agree it's something we should work on together. So to help you a little bit, I want to share one resource that, to wrap up this that Philip Gaskin shared earlier, which is America's New Business Plan. So at the Kauffman Foundation, we think a lot about how to help entrepreneurs. And you're probably all thinking, okay, I get it. We need to lead. We're leading, but what do we do? The Kauffman Foundation worked over the last 4 years to create a bipartisan policy roadmap called America's New Business Plan. The plan seeks to shed light on the main areas of need entrepreneurs have and what leaders and policymakers can do to strengthen access to equitable, inclusive entrepreneurship. This roadmap provides a framework at the local, state, and federal level. It covers many things from funding to cultivating entrepreneurial talent. It covers things that may be interesting to you, like integrating entrepreneurial skills into education and addressing issues of the impact on student loans on entrepreneurship. So my advice or encouragement is, if you don't know what to do and what you should do together in your community, is to check out the framework of America's New Business Plan. If you're interested in learning more or engaging with other communities utilizing the framework, you can also sign up in the website. So to wrap up, I'm going to give you the advice we got from our first speaker this morning. Does everyone remember Violet, who was here doing the dancing? So Violet said something very interesting, and I don't think she meant it about leadership. I think she was talking about dance, but when I heard it, it struck me. She said, You don't have to worry about catching the beat yet. You just have to focus on learning the moves. Working on equity, diversity, and inclusion is difficult. You're not going to catch the beat on your first try. You're definitely not going to catch the groove. But you've got to learn the moves, and the way you learn the moves is by moving. And what I learned from Violet this morning is when you get up and it's kind of awkward, feels sort of strange, you're sort of self-conscious, the more you shake your moneymaker, the more comfortable and more exciting it gets. I'm going to leave it to Josh, our maker intern who's doing the blog, to do a better summary of what we heard today, but that's my take in 3 minutes. I thank you for the opportunity on behalf of the Kauffman Foundation to support your work today, and we look forward to seeing you at next year's conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope that you will continue to explore the many ways to define entrepreneurship with NACCE as we celebrate opportunity, failing forward, and success, learning from one another along the way. Subscribe to this podcast on your favorite platform and follow at NACCE on social media and learn more about us at nacce.com/podcast. Stay tuned for a new episode each week. We look forward to making our way forward together with you. Have you heard about our latest book, Impact Ed: How Community College Entrepreneurship Creates Equity and Prosperity? This is our roadmap for building back better in 50 states and globally. In each chapter, we share the inspiring stories of everyday entrepreneurs and explain how community colleges play a crucial role in their success. Visit us at nacce.com/impacted to order your copy now and join us in this work.